Hello and welcome to this year's first podcast for the League of Legends Fantasy Football League. Today I'm joined with Anthony, Chip, and Jeremy. And today's the very special draft pick selection. And I believe we have an announcement from Jorge. Anthony, do you want to relay that announcement from him about what draft pick he's picking?
Oh yes, yeah, no. Jorge has decided, he being the toilet bowl winner from last year, he's decided he's taking the first overall pick. I did recommend he reach out to Adam before he made that choice, but he did not. He chose not to, because I'm sure Adam would probably have tried to steer him away from that pick. Yeah, Jorge's chosen first. So we are excited. We're going to be doing the picks here live on the stream. I don't know if everyone can see it, but we'll be picking the picks one at a time. I don't have the ability to manually set Jorge as the first pick, and so just to explain this to everyone, whoever ends up getting picked first, that's going to be Jorge's pick, and when we do pick Jorge in the line, if that makes sense. So if Jorge ends up getting fourth pick, the person who got the first pick will get flipped with Jorge.
Yeah, so they get Jorge's spot.
They get Jorge's spot, and Jorge gets the first pick.
Yep.
Seemed like that was probably the easiest way to do it. So the other option is, if you guys want, we could just move everyone down one spot.
I like the switching one. I like swapping better.
We'll swap it? Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. So whoever ends up with the first pick, if it's not Jorge, they'll end up getting swapped with wherever Jorge eventually gets drawn. So.
All right, and with that, do we want to kick it off with that?
Yep. Let's do it.
Get right to it?
Do it. All right.
I'm scared.
We'll get right to it. So here we go. I guess there's not a whole lot of excitement. We already know who this is, but let's just see who gets this.
That's AJ.
And AJ impression. AJ is still TBD, and we have Jorge with the first spot.
Wow.
All right, who gets number 2?
All right, so with the second overall pick.
Come on. Come on.
Marin City Cubbies, Donnie.
Okay.
So just a little. Let's see if I can bring up. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, Anthony and I have talked about how there's certain spots statistically that do better in the season than others.
Yeah, so I actually plugged in last year's data finally, and I'm gonna go with. I guess I'm just gonna go with the average, the mean. With the first overall pick, the mean finish, so where you generally end up, is about right in the middle. It's about sixth place. With the second overall pick, you generally end up in the 7th spot. So kind of middle of the road, which makes sense because when you're that early in the draft on the snake, you're going to have to reach. So it's not an easy spot to draft in those first couple positions.
Mm-hmm. And that's not saying that they're going to automatically end up finishing like that. Just historically, that's what it tells us.
Right. Where is it? No one has. So I only have data from 6 years in the league, but I don't have anyone winning in either of those draft spots yet. That means it's Jorge's turn to prove this wrong this year.
All right. Okay. Let's see the third pick.
So, third pick. Refrigerator, Nick. This has an average finish of 5th place, so it's kind of right there in the middle again.
At least you're in playoffs, though.
Yep, you're in the playoffs. And really, I guess, all these spots you're in good shape. The best finish we've ever seen from this is 4th place from the third position. So it's a pretty safe spot to get in the playoffs.
Alrighty.
Is that going back as far as the league has been?
I'm only going back to 2016. I don't have before 2016. I don't think we were on Yahoo. I think we were on something else. So I don't have that data, unfortunately.
Sure.
That's still a pretty good sample size, though.
Yeah. And again, we're only picking we only have 6 data points right now, so it's not like it's even statistically relevant, but it's something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah. Alrighty. 4th pick. Let's see it.
With the 4th pick, we get Sliced Nuts, Brendan.
All right.
And again, data on this is kind of right in the middle of the road. That seventh position is the average finish. Best finish in this draft spot is fifth. So still definitely in the hunt for the playoffs here.
Now, here's my favorite thing. When AJ either sees this or hears about it, he's gonna say, "Wow, I would have had the first pick." You know he's gonna complain about that.
Yeah,
And he
but
goes, "What do you mean I got the
he's
first pick?"
wrong because that's
Yeah,
not how statistics work.
I know, but every time it goes down, I just see him and him getting angrier and angrier. Like they just swap
Sorry,
people around.
AJ. Another interesting thing is that that third pick, going back to the third pick right now, and Nick, that's actually has one of the lowest standard deviations of finishing, so it's very consistent. Finishes in the third pick, going back to 2016, are sixth, fifth, eighth, fourth, sixth, and fifth. So it's pretty consistent. That you end up kind of middle of the road in that draft pick. The other ones are kind of all over the place. Brennan's pick here has been as good as fifth, but last year that pick ended up last place in the league. So it's hard. It's hard to get a lot from that, but generally we can say a third pick is one of those where you generally end middle of the road.
Okay.
Okay, with the fifth pick, CDAC run. Chip,
First
there it
host.
is.
Chip, how do you feel about that pick?
I'm okay with that pick. I like being lower though, actually, because I like being able to draft pretty close to each other, right away. But I'm good with it. What's the stats on mine?
Okay, so with the fifth pick has an average finish of sixth, but we do have actually two people have won the championship from this draft spot.
News for you, Chip.
Yeah, pretty wild swings. 2 wins, but there's also an 11th place and a 12th place. So it's kind of all over the map in this draft spot.
Right.
This is the most inconsistent spot to draft from so far in our league.
It doesn't matter because Chip's just going to trade all of his players anyway. But
It's true.
Yeah.
Pick is up for trades. It's now on the clock.
On the clock. Okay, so with the sixth pick, Mr. 3000, Jeremy.
I like it. I mean, the good thing about getting sixth is I get my sixth pick of running back because I'm pretty sure like the first 10 draft picks in this fantasy draft are going to be running backs. So hopefully the injury prone guys might be taken off the top there, the big names. But hey, if Dalvin Cook or something falls to pick 6, I'll take him.
now something I've noticed, and I was keeping an eye on this going into it. Anthony, who do you hate drafting next to the most?
I hate drafting next to Adam.
And neither of you guys have gotten your picks yet, so it's still a possibility.
Inevitably, Adam and I always end up next to each other, whether it's near the end of the draft or at the beginning of the draft. Like he and I are always like within a pick or two of each other.
Yep. So something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
For me, it's AJ. AJ always scoops my guys when he's right in front of me.
Well, you never know. He might come in right behind you.
He probably will.
All right.
Speaking of that, pick 7. With the 7th pick, we get number 1 bench. So with the 7th, I liked it. I wish I was a little bit later, but it's a decent pick. I like this. Average finish with this pick is 4th. The best finish so far is 2nd. We're going to change that this year. It's a fairly consistent finish from here too. Standard deviations just over 2.25. Other than it's my first data, it was 8th, but after that, 3rd, 2nd, 5th, 2nd, and 4th. So it's a pretty good pick. Yeah, it's a pretty good pick. It's actually, when I figure in all the different data as far as the mean finish, median finish, top finishes, things like that, it's actually the best draft spot. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Funny how he was in charge of it, and
Hey, I could have made myself first, okay? And I didn't. Okay, with pick 8, Lions Kool-Aiders, Mike. Mike's coming in with the 8th pick. I like 8th and 9th. I think personally, I like the best. Even though they don't rank as high, I like those spots. 8th has an average finish of 4th, and we have had one person win the Super Bowl from this spot. So real good spot to draft.
Alrighty. Now, 9th pick is one of my favorites, so I'm hoping I'm next.
All right, with the 9th pick, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Go, Jordan. Nice.
Wow,
Ooh.
you called that.
Well, there's that a 25% chance. So.
I do have some bad news for you, unfortunately, though. The average final spot for this is 9th.
That's
this
okay.
Is
I'm going to change it.
The most consistent draft spot in the whole league. Lowest standard deviation, 0.84. I don't have data on this from 2016 because in 2016 we only had 8 teams. But since we've increased to 12 teams, the finish position here has been 8th, 9th, 10th, and 9th.
Wow.
Statistically, it is the worst spot to draft in our league.
Okay. I got my 2 keepers in my mind already. We're going to be okay.
With the 10th pick, my Ditkin in a box. Okay, so that is where AJ is going to come in then.
Oh, I got a draft next to AJ.
Yep, you're right next to AJ. So we go Jeremy, we go Chip, Jeremy, me, then Mike, and then Jordan. Wow. So the 4 of us are like really close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got AJ coming in at the 10th spot. 10th pick is historically the second worst pick. Average finish is 8th. But this has some wild swings. We've had a team actually get second from this back in 2019. So it certainly is possible for him to excel and get into the playoffs. He just has to, beat out the historical data.
Yeah.
With the 11th pick, we get Washington Sentinels.
That's Ben. Right?
Yeah, he's going to be up. He is Ben. Ben has a bad luck with these draft picks. He gets in the back end a lot here. But this draft pick actually is the second best spot to draft from.
Whoa.
Average finish of 4th. It's a little all over the board. Actually, it's really only 1 year that drives us to be inconsistent.
Me?
Huh?
I think I had a pretty crap year, pick 11.
2019, a team ended up in 9th place. But other than that, 2nd place, 1st place, 4th place, and 1st place. Making it actually the second best spot to draft from.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know Ben's not going to be happy with this, but it could be worse. And again, you just have the reaches. You've got to. If you know who your players are, you have to draft early because they're not going to make it back to you.
Well, those late spots, you're hoping that they have a 1st-round keeper, because then they're not wasting a high 1st-round pick on like a running back that they don't know if they wanted to keep or not. I think if you get those later picks, it makes it a lot easier to keep a running back or someone that you're kind of iffy on in the 1st round.
Well, actually, Chip, this is where you drafted last year, and so you picked up Jonathan Taylor and the running back from Pittsburgh,
Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee Harris. You got those 2 with those first 2 picks, right?
Yeah, and I liked it because it was back to back.
Yeah.
So I like being in the later round because you can really you see your team starting to develop, and if you're early, you're waiting a long time, and then you're putting your whole team on that one player.
Yeah. So that was a heck of a core of running backs that you drafted last year with those 2 picks there at the back end of the 1st and early 2nd round. So it's not a bad spot. I think Ben has a good pick there. So and then winding up with the last pick,
Adam, right?
We get Adam, who went from 1st pick last year to last pick this year.
Hey, maybe he'll like the other side of the extreme. Maybe it'll help him out.
Maybe.
I think he will, actually. I think he'd like it.
I want to say the year I won from the 12th spot, so 3 years ago, I think Adam was in 11th. He was in the 11th spot. He was right in front of me. So he's been back there before. So interesting thing about this, average finish is 5th. But we have had, I won the year that the one time that it was won from this particular draft spot. So it is possible. And it actually is based on all the finishes. It's the 4th best spot to draft from. So based on the historical data. So
The worst part about being that 11th is you have a guy in mind, right? Because you're only 2 picks away, and then someone always reaches in there in the 12th spot and then throws you off your game. So 12th is nice though, because now you've got 2 guys in mind, and you can just pull the trigger on both.
yeah.
So it's a
Well,
nice.
Adam has I think a fairly similar draft strategy that I do. That he's going to be reaching. He's got guys he wants, and he'll be reaching. So, yeah, no, it's certainly not fun for Ben when you got Adam right there behind you.
Yeah, I was hoping you and Adam would end up right next to each other again, Anthony. But
I know you were.
sometimes things don't go as you plan.
So there we have it. Just I guess to follow up. So we got Jorge coming in first. Then we got Donnie with Marine City Cubbies in second. Refrigerator in third. Sliced Nuts in fourth. Chip CDAC Run is in fifth. We got Mr. 3000 in sixth. Jeremy. I have the 7th pick. Lions Cool-Eaters is 8th. Jordan, Mr. Rogers Neighborhood in 9th. AJ is coming in at 10th. Then Ben and Adam to round it out.
It's going to be an interesting draft because, for me at least, AJ can be a little bit unpredictable at times. Where, say there's a guy that I thought that I had a pretty good beat on that no one else did, AJ could just see the name and be like, him. And then that's when I'm going to get upset in the draft room. I feel pretty good about the 9th pick. I know historically it hasn't been amazing. But with my keepers and who I think will be available at 9, I think we'll be okay.
So who are you? It can be changed, but who at this point are you anticipating you're keeping?
Me, it's going to be Cooper Kupp in the 3rd round.
Okay.
And then Justin Jefferson in the 10th round.
Can't argue with that.
So
About the keepers, and I think anybody watching this, they'll want to know like how to use this information about where their draft spot is, and then sort of plan it out. What's the best way to look and see what round you would lose, and then from there, how do we lock in our keeper?
So we're gonna lock in our keepers on the Yahoo website. I'll put a post up on Facebook probably later this weekend or next week, kind of explaining how to do that. But the draft pick you would lose is going to be based on whether you drafted the person last year, whether you kept them, or if they were like a free agent pickup. So if you drafted the person next year that you're keeping, you lose the draft spot that you drafted them. If you kept them last year, so let's say, I don't know, I think I kept. Anyway, if I kept the person with the 4th round last year and I want to keep them again this year, that cost would go up 1 round, so they go up to the 3rd rounder this year. So, like, if you had someone who you kept with the 1st round last year, you can't keep them because you can't go any higher than 1st. So that person, you're not able to keep them anymore. And we did that to kind of limit it, so you can't have someone that's drafted in the 3rd round that you can keep for their whole career. We're trying to make it so those players will get rotated back into the pool.
I actually have to run real quick, so
Okay.
I will see you again.
All right, have a good one.
All right, peace out.
And then if you pick someone up as a free agent, they would count as the last round. That's how the rules currently are. So if you pick someone up as a free agent and you like them and you think that they're going to do well this year, they would count towards your very last pick. If you have 2 free agents you're going to keep, they would count as your bottom 2 picks. So you would just have to select. You just have to tell me which one you want for which spot.
Gotcha. And if a player in our league had traded for a guy and decided to keep their traded guy, right? They would have to look at
that's where it's a little bit harder. So let's say I traded you the guy I drafted in the 3rd round, and you want to keep him. He would cost you a 3rd rounder.
Okay, so I'd have to look at your team, see where you drafted, and it's the round that he was drafted. Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay.
Now let's say you're keeping your guy that you drafted in the third round, and you want to keep the other guy that was in the third round. One of them would have to cost you a second rounder, and you'd have to just let me know.
Gotcha. It moved up. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yep. I figured you're gonna get hit with all these questions, and it's best to sort of throw them now in the podcast.
So I'll do a post. I'll spell it all out. And I'm sure people are gonna have questions if they can't find it. There is a if you go on Yahoo, there's a tab that has the draft results from last year, so you can pull up your team and see where you drafted players. But generally, what I'm gonna go through and I will double check that when I get the list of players from everyone that they're keeping, and then I will publish a list with their keeper costs. And if it doesn't match up with what you're thinking, then just shoot me a text and we'll try to figure it out. See if I made a mistake or if you were mistaken or whatever. So
Makes sense.
and then we're gonna try and do. I want to talk to Jordan on. So I've had a few people that want to do a live draft, like an in-person draft. There's been some talk about doing that again this year. Normally we do the draft on Labor Day night, so Monday night. But if people are traveling, whatever, it's kind of a challenge. So I'm going to probably throw something up on Facebook this weekend and get people's input. If we want to do an in-person draft for whoever can make it, maybe we do something in the middle. We could do the hub in Auburn Hills again. That was a lot of fun. And just have people bring their laptops or iPads or whatever, and they can just draft online from the hub. And then anyone that can't make it, they just draft like normal. Or we just all draft online. It doesn't matter to me. But if enough people want to do it in person, maybe we can either go to the hub or we can go to someone's house or whatever. So, so with that,
do you want to click pick 12 just to make sure we get all the names up there? Is it not? Am I wrong?
Well, can you see it?
Oh yeah, I can see it. Yep.
You can see it.
Yep. I'm recording Anthony's screen, so everybody should be able to see it.
If you Chip, if you click on the screen, so if you got all the tabs or all of our windows here, if you click on that screen, make it big.
Yep, I see it. I just want to make sure everybody can see all the picks. Yep.
And then bear with me 1 second. I want to get the keepers in here in a couple weeks. Let me pull up the calendar. Give me 1 second. So what do we got? Labor Day is September 5th.
Okay.
So I would like to have keepers in by Monday the 22nd.
All right.
Me. Just shoot me a text or Facebook Messenger or whatever. Or just you can even post it in the post when I mention the keepers. But I want to have that stuff in by the 22nd so I can publish it. Everyone knows who's being kept and what position they're being kept. So people can start working on their drafts. It gives them 2 weeks to kind of start preparing their drafts. If something does happen and there's an injury, case by case, I'll let people, just message me and we might be able to adjust the keepers. We can't do it for everything, but I'm hoping we don't see a lot of injuries between the 22nd and the draft day. I'm not sure when I want to say the last preseason week is like the weekend after that. So we'll probably finalize it, after the last week of preseason, but I want to get that initial list in on the 22nd. And so people can start preparing for that.
That's good.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on?
No, I think this is it. Oh, yeah, we gotta take a look at this.
I'm gonna take a screenshot so that
Jeremy will make your screen
close,
big so you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's still 5 slots, guys. 5 slots to be determined. So it's weird. I was looking at this. It went Brendan twice in a row, so back-to-back champion. Then Jorge, and I won randomly, and then Anthony back-to-back. I've won last year, so it's a lot of pressure. I'm gonna try and get a back-to-back, but there's a lot of back-to-back. It's very weird. So good luck to everybody.
I think Jordan's gonna prevent you from getting a back-to-back win this year. His keepers are insane. He's gonna be the team to beat. I think that's my early season prediction.
He was a tough team last year too. So
he puts together very good teams.
All right, sounds good. Well, we will we will talk to everyone here later when we got the draft coming up in just like a month, so it won't be long.
All right.
All
Peace
right.
out,
Have
guys.
a good
Thank you
night.
guys so much for watching.